Section 1. A specter returns. The resurging threat of biological weapons. The question hangs heavy in the air of global diplomacy. Are biological weapons making a comeback? Years ago at the United Nations, President Donald Trump raised this very specter. He spoke of rogue nations. He spoke of terrorist groups seeking these terrible tools. His words were a stark reminder of a threat many believed was confined to history books. The world had seemingly moved on from the Cold War's darkest fears. Global health crises like pandemics took center stage. Yet the underlying science of creating pathogens never vanished. It only advanced, faster, cheaper, more accessible, quietly reigniting a danger we thought we had extinguished. This is not a theoretical debate for academics alone. It is a practical, urgent concern for every nation. The silence surrounding bioweapons development has been broken by the rapid march of technology. The tools that promise to cure diseases also hold the potential to create them with terrifying precision. This new reality forces us to confront questions about security and scientific responsibility. Are the agreements and safeguards of the past strong enough for the 21st century?
Section 2. A fragile shield. The history and limits of global bioweapon bans. The history of biological warfare is long and grim. For centuries, armies have used disease as a weapon. They catapulted plague-ridden corpses over castle walls in the Middle Ages. They distributed blankets infected with smallpox to Native American tribes during colonial conflicts. These crude methods were horrifyingly effective, demonstrating the devastating power of pathogens in warfare. As science advanced, so did the sophistication of these weapons. By the 20th century, major world powers were actively developing military programs to weaponize deadly microbes. Anthrax, botulinum toxin, tularemia. The goal was to create agents that could incapacitate or kill on a massive scale. A silent and invisible form of total war. In response, the world came together. The 1972 Biological Weapons Convention was a landmark achievement. It was the first multilateral disarmament treaty to ban an entire category of weapons of mass destruction. Nations that signed the treaty pledged to never develop biological agents for hostile purposes, never produce them, never stockpile them, never acquire them, and to destroy any existing stocks they possessed. The BWC was born from a shared understanding that biological weapons were too dangerous, too unpredictable, and too morally repugnant to ever be used. However, the BWC has always had a critical weakness. It lacks any formal verification mechanism. There are no international inspectors empowered to conduct routine checks on laboratories or production facilities. The treaty relies almost entirely on the good faith and self-reporting of its member states. This trust but don't verify approach was a political compromise during the Cold War, but it leaves the convention vulnerable to deception. The Soviet Union ran a massive clandestine bioweapons program for years after signing the treaty. Without verification, we can never be entirely certain who is complying and who is not. Section 3. The new arsenals. How AI and biotechnology amplify the danger. The nature of the biological threat has been fundamentally altered by two powerful forces: biotechnology and artificial intelligence. New gene editing tools, most notably CRISPR, have revolutionized our ability to manipulate DNA. CRISPR acts like a pair of molecular scissors, allowing scientists to cut and paste genetic code with incredible precision and ease. This technology holds immense promise for curing genetic diseases and improving crops, but it also opens a Pandora's box of security risks. A rogue actor could theoretically use CRISPR to make an existing pathogen more dangerous. They could increase its transmissibility, make it resistant to vaccines, make it resistant to antibiotics, or even alter its symptoms to make it harder to diagnose. Artificial intelligence adds another dangerous layer to this new reality. AI can accelerate design, sift vast biological databases to identify harmful molecules, or predict how a modified virus might behave. An AI could design a toxin from scratch or optimize a pathogen's genetic sequence for maximum impact, removing trial and error. It lowers the barrier to entry, enabling results that once required a team of experts and years of research. Imagine an AI guiding an automated laboratory to run thousands of experiments remotely. A user could input a desired outcome, for instance, a more contagious version of a virus, and the AI could execute the necessary genetic modifications without a human ever touching a test tube. This convergence of AI, gene synthesis, and lab automation streamlines the path from digital design to physical pathogen, faster, cheaper, and more anonymous. Safeguards were not built for a decentralized, automated landscape. Timelines are shrinking. The new arsenal is about speed and accessibility, a new arms race against the pace of innovation itself. Through Section 4, thus lessons from the past, explains when bioweapons left the laboratory. To understand the scale of the modern risk, we must look at the lessons of the past. The Soviet Union's bioweapons program, known as Biopreparat, operating in secret for decades. It employed tens of thousands, scientists, technicians, across a network of hidden facilities. The program weaponized deadly pathogens on an industrial scale. They produced tons of anthrax, smallpox, plague agents. They even engineered multi-drug resistant strains. The program's size shows how much a state can pour into a clandestine effort, even while publicly championing arms control like the BWC. Accidents were always a danger. In 1979, an accidental release in Sverdlovsk killed dozens, possibly hundreds. The incident was covered up for years and blamed on tainted meat, a grim preview of containment failure. Even state resources can't remove the inherent risks. Leaks and accidental or intentional threaten creators and civilians alike. Non-state actors have tried too, so Aum Shinrikyo attempted multiple biological attacks in the early 1990s. Anthrax, botulinum toxin from rooftops and vehicles in Tokyo. Their attempts failed, mostly from lack of technical expertise. They used a non-virulent vaccine strain of anthrax and struggled to cultivate the correct botulinum strain. The 2001 anthrax attacks in the US show another lesson. A small amount of high-quality anthrax powder sent through the mail killed 5 people, sickened 17 others, and caused widespread panic. The economic disruption cost over $1 billion. The country was gripped by fear. A small-scale attack can have massive psychological and economic impact. Lethality is only one measure of a bioweapon's power. At the very heart of the bioweapons problem lies the dual-use dilemma. This refers to the fact that the same scientific knowledge, tools, materials, it can be used for peaceful and beneficial purposes and can also be misused for hostile ones. The research that helps us understand how a virus spreads to better fight a pandemic can also inform someone on how to make it spread more effectively. The laboratory equipment used to develop life-saving vaccines is also capable of producing a weaponized pathogen. This overlap makes it incredibly difficult to control proliferation without stifling vital science. Scientists study the genetic makeup of dangerous pathogens to find weaknesses targeted by drugs and by vaccines. They may intentionally create more virulent strains in secure labs to test countermeasures. This is known as gain-of-function research, and it helps prepare for natural outbreaks. But publishing these studies, while crucial for collaboration, also places a potential roadmap into the public domain. It can teach others how to replicate dangerous experiments, creating a blueprint for malicious actors. A DNA synthesizer prints custom DNA from a digital file. It's indispensable in modern biology, used in cancer research and in developing synthetic insulin. Yet the same machine could print the genetic code of a deadly virus like smallpox. Many synthesis companies screen orders for hazardous sequences, but the system is not foolproof. A determined actor could circumvent checks or build their own machine. This duality makes governance extraordinarily complex. Strict controls risk slowing cures or delaying vaccines. Keeping everything open risks enabling terrorists or rogue states. There is no simple solution. We are forced to walk a tightrope, balancing scientific promise against peril. A balancing act growing more precarious as technology becomes more powerful and accessible. The modern threat of bioterrorism may not look like the Cold War apocalypse scenarios. Instead, the new face of terror is likely subtler, more targeted, designed to exploit our interconnected vulnerabilities. A small-scale attack like the 2001 anthrax letters could be preferred. The goal wouldn't be to kill millions, but to create widespread panic, to sow social division, to cripple an economy. A limited release in a major transportation hub could spark fear, or at a large public event. That fear can spread far faster than the pathogen itself. It becomes a tool of hybrid warfare. A state actor could carry out a clandestine biological attack, then deny responsibility, blaming a natural outbreak or a terrorist group. Gaining plausible deniability. The chaos would overwhelm public health systems, force unpopular lockdowns, and erode trust in institutions. Attackers would amplify confusion with coordinated disinformation. Social media would be flooded with conspiracy theories and false information. Even a small contained event can have catastrophic economic consequences. Global supply chains disrupted, travel collapsed, tourism halted, borders shut, flights grounded, trade halted. Decontamination and public health response costs would soar, disruption reaching billions or trillions. For an adversary, that's an asymmetric advantage. Targets might not even be human. Agricultural bioterrorism could devastate food supply, cause massive economic losses, and spark social unrest, often mistaken for natural outbreaks. Faced with the shortcomings of the Biological Weapons Convention, some experts have proposed a novel idea on using artificial intelligence as a watchdog. The concept, AI monitoring vast streams of global data to spot subtle signs of clandestine bioweapons programs. Scanning scientific publications, monitoring extremist chatter, tracking sales of dual-use lab equipment, and cross-referencing shipping manifests. Compare them with satellite imagery of facilities and flag suspicious activities that humans might miss. An early warning system. AI processes information at impossible scale and speed, identifying faint patterns and hidden connections, connecting dots that are geographically and chronologically distant. Example: an institute orders specific growth media, simultaneously hires aerosolization experts, and publishes on pathogen resistance. No single smoking gun, but together a worrying picture. Provide international bodies with data-driven evidence to request a challenge inspection or to initiate diplomatic intervention. But the limitations and risks are profound. Immense technical hurdles and unprecedented data access needs. Proprietary data, private communications, sensitive intelligence, raising huge privacy and sovereignty concerns. Many countries would refuse access. The system would be prone to errors, generating false positives that cause diplomatic crises and damage reputations. With few real training examples, models are brittle. Adversaries could feed misleading data or operate below detection thresholds, and a dangerous cat-and-mouse game. Over-reliance risks a false sense of security. AI is tantalizing, but not a silver bullet, just one tool among many. The threat of biological weapons has returned, transformed, and amplified by the relentless march of technology. This is not a distant, hypothetical problem. It is a clear and gathering storm on the horizon. The convergence of AI, gene editing, and automation has created a world where the power to create plagues, is becoming more accessible than ever before. The lessons from the Soviet program, the Aum Shinrikyo cult, the 2001 anthrax attacks, are stark reminders of the intent and devastation these weapons can cause. The old safeguards, built for a different era, are no longer sufficient. We must act with urgency, without succumbing to panic. A robust defense requires a new global pact. It demands unprecedented cooperation between nations, the scientific community, and the technology industry. Governments must strengthen the Biological Weapons Convention, explore new verification mechanisms, perhaps aided by AI, while understanding their limits. Share intelligence more freely, establish clear international protocols, rebuild trust, and commit to transparency amid rising geopolitical tensions. Scientists have a profound ethical responsibility. Promote awareness of dual-use risks, strengthen oversight, and build safeguards into DNA synthesizers and AI models. The private sector must be a partner, that builds security in from the ground up, screen orders, monitor platforms, and put global safety on par with profit. This is a race against time, one we cannot afford to lose. The same technologies that pose this threat also give us tools to defend. Better sensors, faster diagnostics, rapid response vaccines.